Welcome back, guys. In this video I'm just going to be doing a very simple rig. I've been asked by a handful of people since my last trip on what the rig I used to catch old nanny guy. Yeah, people are just curious on what I was using, because I was only fishing close, I was only fishing very shallow, so people just asked what rig I used to catch the nanny guy and you know, mackerel and other bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do, guys, is make up that rig. Just show you. It's a very simple, very easy rig, very quick. Okay? But before we get to that, I also got asked a couple of questions on how heavy a gear I was using. Everyone assumes when you're going out to the reef you want to run 80 pounds, 60 pound, 80 pound for this, that and everything else. I don't even run that, not even close. You guys saw the last video. I got cod, I got mackerel, I got some nanny guy. I did get dust up a couple of times. I'm pretty sure a couple of them are sharks and just bigger fish, but it happens on the reef. But the outfit I was using, the actual outfit, be careful of the fan, was this. That is just a little basic Torium. It's a Shimano Torium. This is a mongrel mesh or monster mesh rod, Daiwa. I don't know if you can get them anymore, but basically it's just a PE2 rod. Okay, but this, what I like about this rod, it's got a lighter tip on it compared to most rods. So PE2 5'6" jig rod, basically. That's just a, what I say, a little Torium. It's a 20 HG Torium. Not a high speed reel, nothing fancy about it, just a nice little overhead and strong. And the most important part, guys, the braid. That's 15 kilo. It's just normal everyday 30 pound braid. I'm not running a thin 50 or 60 or 80 pound or 100 pound, none of that. I don't care about that. That is just 15 kilo. It's just a normal stock standard 30 pound line. And as you saw in the video, it done the job easy. On those couple of nice nannies and those other things I caught. And yes, I did get it done up a couple of times, but that's going to happen no matter what gear you got. Okay? Now to the rig. As you can see here, I've still got the rig on here. There's a hook, a sinker. Okay? But what I'm going to do is make the rig for you. And then there's a couple of things I do a little bit differently. And there's definitely one thing I'm been using lately, and it works really well, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay, but before we get to that, let's just make the rig. Oh, before I get to the rig, I want to talk about something. With the sinkers nowadays, Mustard are bringing out sinkers, and I have been for quite a long time, but they're snapper sinkers. These ones here, bottom dongers, 8s, 12s, 16s. If you noticed, they're actually they're not really skinny at the top, they're quite wide, they're like a rounded square. And a lot of the times I've found with these, when you do your big loops on your Paternoster rigs, and you loop them on, and you use these sinkers, you start off like that, they're nice and straight, they go down, they work, they're fine, okay? But a lot of the time I've noticed when I'm bringing these up, well, I used to until I changed it, they come up on the side like so. The line, once it's been down, bang around the bottom, the line will be on the side of the side. And the sinker will come up that way. And I noticed my rig's twisted, because this will twist in the water when that's on the side. It twists, and it twists a bit out of the rig. So I still use these sinkers, because, well, they're just a sinker, but I rig them up a slightly different way, so they're not sitting side on like so. Because when they're doing that, they're coming up, they twist your rig, well, shit. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I do them differently too. Anyway, let's start off with, I'm just going to make a rig, okay? So basically I'm just going to go on arm's length like so. Side to side, just straight out like so, that's it. And the line I'm using, I've got a thing about Tiagra line lately. I like Tiagra line. It's thin, I run 80 pounds, 60 or 80. I think that last rig I was using was 60, but for this I'm going to use 80. Okay, so 80 pound Tiagra, that's all I'm using. It seems to be a good line, good strong line. Okay. So out of that whole arms there, that's nice and long, right? Yep. So what we're going to do, instead of on one end, I used to tie the big loop. You do your loop, loop-de-loop, and then you put your sinker on that way. But when you do that with these Mustard ones, they sit on the side like so and they twist and bugger, so I don't like that anymore. So now, let's get a sinker. I'm just going to put it straight through. And all I'm doing, you're going to laugh at this, guys. This is, everyone laughs. I'm just tying it on with granny knots. But I'm not pulling them up tight. I want to leave a loop. So I'm just going to do a couple of granny knots. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I do it now. I'm bugging myself up trying to do it in front of the camera. So I'm just going to do a granny knot, leave a big loop, another granny knot, pull it up tight, and then I just go around the arms to lock it off so the knot doesn't slide down on itself. So around one arm, pull it tight. Now I'm just going to go around the other and pull it tight. And that's it. Now you've got a nice big loop there. See a nice big loop? And the sinker's free. It can do whatever. But it doesn't get caught up on the side and sit on an angle and twist your rig. So that's all I'm doing different. I'm just doing that. Okay. Now I'm going to go about an arm's length from the sinker up to like your neck, this bit here. Now I'm just going to chop this bit off. And what I'm going to do now, on top of the sinker bit, okay, is just got a black crane swivel. I always go black because you don't want nothing too shiny out there. Lots of things are attracted to shiny things. As you see in some of my underwater footage, you'll see lots of triggerfish and mackerel and all sorts of things, all toothy critters. And if you're running brass swivels and shiny, they'll come past and snip you off. So I'm always running black. I always tie a uni knot, so uni knots for everything. I'm just going to go wet it down, pull tight. So basically you just got your sinker there on a loop that I tied with granny knots. Have a laugh, but it does work. Okay, see, that's a couple of feet up to the swivel. And with that bit of line you took off, okay, I'm also going to tie that onto the swivel, but I'm going to tie it onto the top eye. Once again, just using uni knots. Okay, so you got your swivel there. We've got our sinker on one, we've got a hook on our other. I have noticed when some guys make this rig for out here on the reef, they run this sinker one like double the length of this, quite high, and then they have the bait sitting quite far off the bottom. And I have noticed with the underwater footage, a lot of the fish are right down close, so I'm running my baits a little bit closer to the bottom. And last trip it seemed to work. Okay, so I've got that. That's nearly the same length. I will shorten that a little bit. You don't want that too long, otherwise it's going to twist up everywhere. You hook one, your branch line, shorten it down so it's what, 20 centimeters, maybe 25. Now this is a bit that's different. This is where I stand out from everyone else. I'm not running circle hooks anymore, even though I've done videos on how they work and how to do them work, for them to work better, which is all great, and that does help, believe me guys. But I'm old school. I don't like circle hooks too much. I'd rather strike. I really would. I don't want to stand there and slowly lift or wait for the fish to hook themselves. I'd rather feel a bite and strike, and I enjoy it. That's what I enjoy. So I'm going back to normal hooks. These are a J hook. But I found these things work really, really, really well. The only thing that's going to turn you off, guys, these things are bloody expensive. And on the reef, you don't want to lose too many. And what hooks these are? This is a 9A, and they're called SL12s. SL12s. And they're actually designed for game fishing. We used to stick them in like the skirted lures. SL12s. They're a Gamakatsu. But I found, because they're quite a nice big wide gape and a longer shank, and they are in line, you can bunch up quite a bit of bait on here, because I like using big chunky baits for these fish. When I go, I want to put a bait down, I don't want to put half a pilcher down or a little tiny bit of bait. I want to bunch up and have a big bait down. Yeah, looking for big fish with big mouths. And it's something, if the pickers come and start picking, which they do up here a lot, there's still quite a bit of bait on the hook for a bigger one to come in later. So I prefer a bigger hook. And I found with these things, these are a very light gauge, very thin, very light, and very, very sharp. And I found last trip I didn't miss any strikes. These things worked an absolute treat. So they're my new favourite hook for out in the reef, SL12s. And since I'm only running 15 kilo on this rod, and on my heavier rod when I'm going out, if I go chasing Red Emperor stuff, I'm still going to use these. I'm running 24 kilo. Okay, so with things saying that, these are only a light gauge hook, and running that sort of line, I'll probably have to be careful, especially on 24, careful with me drag. No locking up drag. Like a lot of guys now are talking 20 kilo, lock up, go. Bullshit to that. Really, seriously. That's 15 kilo, that had 5 kilos of drag on it and done the fish the other day, easy. 24, I'll probably have 8 kilo. And I'll see how you go with the SL12s, but I reckon I'd be fine. Okay, with 8 kilo. Chasing reef fish. But striking wise, and I didn't miss a fish the other day. These things were an absolute treat. From now on, bugger the circle hooks. Bugger this, bugger that. I'm going to use SL12s. They're not cheap, but shit, they work well. They really did work really well, and you can put a nice big chunky bait on them. So once again, uni knot, pull it down tight. So basically all I've done, guys, is made a one hook paternoster. I'm just cutting all the tag ends off, even off me sinker with my granny knots. And how's that for a very basic rig? So sinker on a big loop I tied, so it's free swinging. A couple of feet up to a heavy duty black crane swivel. Okay, like so. And then I'm going to tie my rod on straight to that top one, obviously, and then you've got this, your branch line hanging off. And that's an SL12. No, I know, SL12. And I found that thing was awesome. They really changed the game the other day. That really changed the game of how I fished. I was quite impressed with that hook. And that's all I'm going to use now. And I'm lucky because I got quite a few of them. And I got more out in the shed because I used to do a lot of light tackle. So I've got plenty of SL12s to use. So that guy, that's it, guys. That's the rig. That's what got the nannies of the day. It's the rig I'll pretty much use. I'll use the same rig I'm chasing Red Emperor. See how it goes. I think it'd be fine. Heavier sinker, obviously. So that's a 12. Oh, it's a 12 ounce. It's probably heavy enough. The other day I was in 20 meters, 25 meters. I was using an 8 ounce, and that was fine. 8 ounce sinker and a little close. When I'm running out in 60 meters, I'll probably go to the 12 ounce. The hook's going to stay the same. 60 pound leader, 80 pound leader is fine. That's it, and just keep it simple. I've got, as you saw, there's no dressing up on this. I had no beads, no lumo. It's just a very simple, very easy rig. And I have watched a lot of other videos and stuff, and people are using basically the same rig for coral trout, so it's going to work well on trout. The guys are using it for Red Emperor, same sort of rig. Some guys are just using loop knots, like a paternoster loop knots, and other guys are using swivels. I think I like the swivel idea, I really do. And just back to basics, guys, that's really it. And once again, this rod here is a PE2 with a Torium on it, and it's 15 kilo braid, 30 pounds. And my drag set at 5 kilo. Done it easy, not a problem in the world. Not all this 80 pound and 20 kilo drag and all this BS I hear all day, every day. You don't need it, you really don't. Anyway, guys, I've waddled on enough. Hopefully that will help you and just give you an idea of what I've done last trip. And I'll hopefully see you out in the water again shortly. Thanks a lot.